What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the newest iteration of the Dodge Charger RT, see what this V8 muscle car has to offer. Big shout out and thank you to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this charger for today's video. They have a huge selection of nearly brand new pre-owned cars, so definitely check them out. And the model that we're looking at today is finished off in white knuckle, and you can expect a sale price on these to range from the upper 30s to the upper 40s. Underneath the hood of the newest generation Dodge Charger RT, you're going to find a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi V8. This 8-cylinder pumps out 370 horsepower with 395 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission and sends the power to the rear wheels. And with a curb weight around 4,300 pounds, you can expect 0 to 60 around 5 seconds and a top speed at 155 miles per hour. It runs on an 18.5 gallon fuel tank, so you're looking at 16 miles per gallon in the city with 25 out on the highway. The overall length is 198.2 inches with wheelbase at 120. Height is 57.8 and width is 75 inches. A Charger can also tow up to 1,000 pounds. And then now moving on to the exterior styling with the Charger RT. While a new generation is probably right around the corner, this outgoing model still has a very sharp and modern appearance. You get a set of blacked out headlights that have a massive daytime running light running around the entire perimeter. You can see the projector beam right in the center, and then it all flows towards the central grille. The upper grille has a massive opening on the left and the right side to allow cooling to the radiators, and I really like the aggressive mesh. The lower grille also features the same type of mesh, all colored in the same black. Then you can see this aggressive front splitter, LED fog lights on each side, and then really sharp lines cutting their way through the entire front bumper. I really like the way everything flows together. It's rounded and yet pretty sharp at the same time, and it kind of has that snake vibe like a Viper. There's a functional air intake duct up top to allow cool air to enter the engine bay, and you can see how it has that power dome design very raised up in the top portion, letting you know there's a big old Hemi V8. You get some smooth lines all throughout the hood as well, and it's a longer hood. The front end has some size for sure. If we take a look at the side profile now, we get a massive set of 20-inch wheels, multi-spoke design finished off in a satin black. Then you get a really sharp line cutting around the fender arches. And I love the center line through this whole door panel. It goes from the top, cuts down, and then goes to the bottom. Really cool side profile design, as you can see. It's a pretty proportional vehicle. It's got a really good look for a family sedan. Then we also get a set of body colored door handles and then black trim around the windows, and then body colored for the mirror caps. Really cool design, and you can see how the sharp line cuts its way towards the rear, giving it a large bulge to give this a wider appearance. And then if we make our way in back, this one does have some aftermarket goodies on it. We get this extension for the spoiler, has a really cool look, kind of like a NASCAR would have. And then you get a massive set of LED taillights. They're sunken into the bodywork with Dodge written out in the center with your backup camera. And I just love how the red and the LED lights all light up as one bar. It really does give it a modern look even years later. You can see a trim piece on the farthest side on the left, parking sensors in back, then some plastic black in the center diffuser with a massive set of an aftermarket exhaust system. So there's a good look at the exterior with the Dodge Charger RT. This still is a really sharp looking car. I think the exterior design is kind of aging very nicely. We have Dodge's key fob pretty straightforward. If I go ahead and tap the lock button, we do get remote start, and with the upgraded exhaust system, it's probably gonna make some good noises. Wow, that is one meaty engine. Wow, that sounds good. Then turning it off. So with the car lock, there's a button on the top. You just tap the button to actually lock the car, and then from there you grab it once to unlock it, and then another time, and you can open up the door and check out the interior. This Charger RT gets a full black interior with fabric seats and then a little bit of red accents on the aftermarket. If we take a look at the door panel now, you can see the black fabric with some stitching and then a synthetic leather material on the armrest with a lot of padding. You have a grab handle in the center, all of your window controls and mirror controls, then the release handle up top. You see that cool red trim piece in the center and then a ton of storage space down below. Moving our way inside, we get the Charger name written out on this door sill, and then power controls on the left side. We get lumbar support in the back. Then these are a very aggressive set of seats. You can see the massive bolsters, and I really like this pattern you see in the fabric. The backrests also have really large bolsters to them. Then the headrests have a little bit more stitching. We also get a black leather steering wheel with perforated leather on the sides, and then more of that cool red trim. And then now inside, keep my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. And then taking a look at the gauge cluster now, we get an LCD screen right in the center with an analog tach and speedometer. We have a control panel on the left side of the steering wheel to control what you see through the screen. Right now we can see our digital speed readout. Then if I scroll down, we can see vehicle information and scroll left and right and see all sorts of different vitals within the car, air temperature, voltage, power, tires, things like that, and temperatures. We also have performance data that'll come up like your G-force meter. You have lap timers, lap history, top speeds, and other things like that. You can also continue down into fuel economy information, trip information, and audio. Then we get messages, screen setup, and then back to your speedometer. If we take a look at the steering wheel now, we also get some Bluetooth and audio controls on the left side, and then cruise control settings on the right. The car comes with these factory paddles that are very small. They're really only this big behind the steering wheel. However, these extra extensions have a nice little look and feel to them. And then underneath the paddle, there's radio controls on the back side. On the left side of the steering wheel, we have the windshield wipers along with the turn signal, and then headlight controls and interior lighting all on this left side. We have the trunk release button as well, then one of the air vents, and then that silver trim wrapping around the entire dashboard. You can see black trim throughout, and then more of the silver trim in the lower portion. Moving to the center infotainment screen now, you can see we have climate controls that'll come up. Very simple the way everything is set up. You can just scroll up for your temperature, tap this for your fan speed, and then turn it off. We have a media icon on the left side, and then more shortcuts running through this entire center area. We have this section right here, and I like with performance pages, this will come up with a lot of cool information. You can see your home screen with power, gear, and G-forces. All your timers will come up as well. Then you have gauges to monitor all the vitals within the car. You can go over to see more of them. It's really cool that this car has all sorts of performance things. You can see the engine and then even a dyno, which is a pretty neat touch. And then also if you go into settings, you can adjust everything there. And then going into this last screen, you can adjust the drive modes for the sport modes. We have our sport mode set up. You can see how everything is laid out. You can adjust your engine, transmission, all sorts of things in this car. So that is a really cool touch. And if I take the car and put it into reverse, your backup camera will pop up. The graphics are a little outdated, not really anything too fancy for today's standards. Then if I go ahead and put us back into park, above the shifter, we have all the physical climate controls. You can see your fan speed right in the center. It also will come up on the screen as you make adjustments. We have the off as well as auto, and then your dual zone temperature control with AC and recirc, and then all of the defrost. You can also see we have your volume on the left side with tuning and scrolling on the right. You have parking sensors, traction control, your super track pack you can toggle and go back into that screen we saw on the screen. Then we have our sport mode icon right here. It comes up with a checkered flag on the gauge cluster. Then we have a few more controls. We have a little bit of storage down below with a 12 volt. Your shifter has a pretty cool design, a little bit of storage. Then you can pull this back and we get two cup holders as well as a storage area for a cell phone or your key fob. Then opening up the center console, we get a pretty good amount of space in here with two USB ports. And then taking a look at the glove box now, you can open that up. You get a really large shelf in there and a bucket, so pretty usable. And then one last look at the interior. This is certainly showing its age. The outgoing Dodge Charger could use a nice update in the future. However, it really does give you everything that you need and it's pretty easy to use. We also get a sunglass holder up top with dome lights and a garage door opener. And then now moving to the rear seat space, I'm going to grab the door handle and open it up. The door panel is finished off just like we saw up front, and this is a 3-person bench row back here. You can see the same fabric design. We get cubbies on the back side of each of the front seats. Then you do get air conditioning vents along with 2 USBs down below. And in the center, you can grab this down and you get a nice armrest with 2 cup holders. So sitting now in the back seat of the Dodge Charger, this is probably one of the largest sedans out there, and this is actually a really comfortable place to be. I'm 5'11". I actually have plenty of headroom, maybe an inch or so, and even with the seat set at my height, I got a little bit of knee room as well. And honestly, this is pretty nice to be in. The seat is at a good recline angle to where I'm pretty comfortable. Good armrest on the door panel, and then a good armrest right in the center, and you even get dome lights up top with your grab handles. And then moving on to the trunk space, you can double tap the key fob button, use the one in the interior, or there is also one right on this right side. You just press that button and then assist it up. We get a ton of storage space in the back of a Dodge Charger. Like I said, this is probably one of the biggest sedans. You can fit pretty much anything that you need, probably 4 sets of golf bags even. And if you grab the strap in the center, we can lift this up. We get our battery back here along with some extra storage space. And with the back seats folded down, you can see just how much more storage space you're gonna get in the back of a Dodge Charger. They fold down nearly flat, and we still get some room up in front. And the opening into the trunk is pretty large as well to make this one heck of a practical sedan. All right, so setting off now in the Dodge Charger. We'll kind of talk about what it's like to get behind the wheel, and then we'll get my personal opinions at the end of the test drive. So right now we're just in the normal mode, automatic. I just have some gauges up so I can kind of monitor the engine and everything like that. For a normal car, honestly, it's a really comfortable vehicle. This one is sitting on some lowering springs, but they're really comfortable to be in, and it really is a smooth car to drive. Really good visibility, as you can see, good size on the mirrors, and looking over your left and right shoulder, there's really no blind spots in this. It's such a big car, there's so much glass and so much everything. I mean, this is a fantastic daily driver. And I think if you just really need a pretty affordable sedan, but you need that space in the back in the trunk, this is a great option. As far as the interior, yeah, it's pretty dated, so we could totally see an update coming very shortly. And then for some of the fun, if I go into sport mode and manual, sport mode kind of sharpens up throttle response. Now, this isn't really a fast car, even though it has a big V8, it's really not making that much power. Don't expect this to actually be, winning races or anything like that. That's full throttle and, really no power around that RPM. But if I even tone it down into second gear, it gets up to speed, but again, this is not a fast car. These really need to actually have a supercharger to be fast just because they weigh so much. But at least the V8 gives us enough power to feel like a normal car. You're going to be able to get up on the highway, no big deal, merging and things like that. And it does sound pretty awesome. That V8 is a hard engine to not love the sound of. So with all that said, getting back into it, accelerating. That's up to 65, so again, it's not that it's a slow car, it'll get up to speed, it's just not a fast car at all. Again, it weighs so much. So why would you buy the Dodge Charger? Basically, like I said, just a good, affordable, roomy sedan. And it seems like the other videos we filmed of these, that's what kind of the owners comment about. They just like how it's big, it's got the size to it. They're not looking for a crazy car that can handle or is super fast or anything. Not a bad option. It's a little outdated, of course. Honest opinions though, yeah, it needs some updating. I'm sure Dodge is right around the corner from a new one. Now, their other vehicles are really getting super nice, especially the Rams, the Jeeps, and all those types of vehicles. They're looking really good these days, so the next one I'm sure is gonna be super cool. But this car, this is less than 40 grand the way it sits, and that's not bad. Other cars that are this price point are gonna be a lot smaller, not have the space that you're gonna find in a Dodge Charger, and certainly not make that sound. If you really want the Hemi V8, that American muscle sound, this is kind of the only option. This one with an exhaust sounds really good. Yeah, it does have a good rumble to it. It's not too crazy droney with the aftermarket aspects to this particular car. But yeah, as far as comfort and things, these seats are really comfortable. One of the most comfortable factory seats. There's just so much padding, and the bolsters are actually big. There's a lot of grip in here. Armrests are good. It is definitely a really comfy car. And even when you take turns, that's one thing that surprised me about the Charger. It actually handles pretty good. It weighs as much as an SUV, but it's actually kind of nimble for what it is. I can take a turn, and it's really flat in the turn. It's actually pretty impressive the way it works. This car has kind of basic brakes, but those still work nice and responsively. And then the transmission, all the normal things. Let's go out of sport mode and back into automatic. The transmission is smooth enough, delivers the power well. Obviously there's not enough power to really burn the tires or do anything crazy, so it's not really gonna get squirrely unless you're just going way too fast. But it seems like a pretty decent all-around car given what it is. And then just in automatic, getting up to speed. Yeah, transmission is pretty smooth feeling. You don't So not a bad option. You know, it's not really on my top list of favorite cars just because, you know, I crave a lot more horsepower, but a pretty decent option for the money. And in today's market, you know, to get something that's this big, makes the cool sounds, and is super easy to use, not a bad option. So I think that is then it for the newest generation Dodge Charger RT. Pretty cool car, sounds pretty epic. I really do love the Hemi engine. Big shout out and thank you to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this car for today's video. Take a look at their website. They have a ton of inventory right now ready to go and a lot of nearly brand new cars, so definitely check them out. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.